My stepmom told me you're not really part of this family when I was 14, then called me 20 years later asking if I could help with her medical bills. Just a quick favor before I continue. Subscribe if you haven't yet and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I might give you a shout out next time. The number flashed across my screen at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. A Georgia area code I'd blocked 15 years ago but somehow had resurfaced under a new contact. My hands trembled as I stared at the name, Anna Mitchell. My stepmom. The woman who'd made my teenage years a living nightmare was calling me out of nowhere, 2 decades after I'd walked out of my father's house and never looked back. I almost didn't answer. My husband Brian stirred beside me, mumbling something about work in the morning. But curiosity, that toxic persistent thing, made me swipe right. Hello. My voice came out stronger than I felt. The silence stretched for 3 seconds before her voice crackled through, older and weaker than I remembered. Janice? Baby, is that you? The audacity of that word, baby, sent ice through my veins. This woman had spent 6 years telling me I wasn't really family, that I was just my father's mistake from before. And now she was calling me baby? It's me, Anna. Well, your stepmom. I know it's been a long time. Long time. As if those words could encompass the therapy bills, the trust issues, the years of rebuilding myself from the girl she'd systematically destroyed. I sat up in bed, my heart hammering against my ribs. What do you want, Anna? The question came out flat, emotionless. Exactly how I'd trained myself to be when thinking about her. I need your help, sweetheart. I'm sick. Really sick. Her words transported me back instantly. I was 14 again, standing in our kitchen in Stone Mountain, Georgia. The smell of pine sol and the radio playing Mary J. Blige. I just made the honor roll, all A's and 1 B+ in chemistry, and I was so proud. Dad was working late at the factory, double shift, so it was just Anna and her 2 kids, Cameron and Brittany, sitting at the dinner table. I remember holding that report card like it was made of gold, my name printed at the top. Janice Renee Moreno. Look, Anna. I made honor roll again. I'd been trying so hard to make her proud, to be the perfect stepdaughter, to earn my place in the family Dad had built after my mom died when I was 7. Anna barely glanced up from her phone. Cameron, her 17-year-old son, snickered into his spaghetti. Brittany, 12, just stared at me with those cold blue eyes she'd inherited from her mother. That's nice, Janice, Anna said, her voice dripping with dismissal. Cameron got honor roll too. But he doesn't need to make such a big production about it. The comparison stung, but I was used to it by then. 3 years of living with Anna had taught me that nothing I did would ever be enough. But what came next? That was the moment everything shattered. I'd asked if we could celebrate, maybe get ice cream like Dad used to do with me before he remarried. Anna set down her phone with a deliberate click against the table. Janice, sit down. Anna's voice had taken on that particular tone, the one she used when she was about to deliver a lesson she thought I needed. I sat across from her, my report card still clutched in my sweaty hands. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too hot. Cameron and Brittany exchanged a glance that I couldn't read but knew wasn't good. You need to understand something, and I'm only telling you this for your own good. She leaned forward, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against the wooden table. You're not really part of this family. You're Ronald's daughter from before, from his mistake. I'm trying my best to tolerate you living here, but don't confuse that with you actually being one of us. The words hit me like a physical blow. I felt my face go hot, then cold. My vision blurred at the edges. What? My voice came out as a whisper. Brittany giggled, quickly covering her mouth. Cameron just kept eating, but I could see the smirk pulling at his lips. Don't act so shocked. You're 14 now, old enough to understand how families work. Real families. Cameron and Brittany are my blood. You're just here. So stop trying so hard to get my attention with your little achievements. Save that for your daddy when he gets home. She said, Daddy, like it was something dirty. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the linoleum with a horrible screech. I ran to my room, the smallest bedroom in the house, barely big enough for a twin bed and a dresser. Anna had given Cameron the master bedroom upstairs with his own bathroom, while Brittany got the room with the bay window overlooking the backyard. Mine faced the neighbor's brick wall. I threw myself onto my bed, clutching my report card against my chest, and cried until I couldn't breathe properly. When Dad came home at midnight, I heard Anna's voice drift up through the heating vents. She was spinning her version first like she always did. Ronald, your daughter had a complete meltdown at dinner tonight. Over nothing. I swear she's so dramatic. I can't say anything without her taking it the wrong way. I'd learned by then that telling Dad the truth only made things worse. Anna would cry, say I was lying, that I was trying to break up their marriage. Dad would look at me with these tired, disappointed eyes and tell me to try harder to get along. He worked 70 hours a week to support us all after Anna quit her job as a dental receptionist, claiming stress. He was too exhausted to see what was really happening. That night marked a shift in me. I stopped trying to win Anna's approval. I stopped hoping she'd ever love me like she loved Cameron and Brittany. I became quiet, invisible, counting down the days until I could leave. The next 4 years were a masterclass in psychological warfare. Anna never hit me, she was too smart for that. Instead, she used 1,000 tiny cuts. My Christmas presents were always practical. Socks, school supplies, while Cameron and Brittany opened expensive electronics and designer clothes. Family photos on the mantle somehow never included me. I was always at a weird angle, or looked too tired that day. When I turned 16 and got my license, Dad bought a used Honda Civic for the kids to share. But Anna made sure Cameron got first priority always. I'd have to beg for the keys and she'd interrogate me about where I was going, demanding I be back by specific times while Cameron rolled in at 2 a.m. without consequences. My junior year, I applied for a scholarship to Morris Brown College. A full ride for academic excellence. When the acceptance letter came, I hid it in my bedroom, terrified of Anna's reaction. But Brittany found it while borrowing my clothes without asking and showed her mother. That evening, Anna called a family meeting. Janice thinks she's going to college, she announced to Dad at dinner, her voice dripping with condescension. Dad looked up from his meatloaf, confused. Of course she is. That's wonderful, baby girl. But Anna wasn't done. With what money, Ronald? We can barely afford Cameron's tuition at Georgia State. You expect us to support her too. It's a full scholarship, I said quietly. Anna's face went through several emotions in rapid succession. Surprise, anger, and then something calculating. A full scholarship? To where? Her tone suggested she didn't believe me. I handed her the letter, my hands shaking slightly. Dad reached for it, pride lighting up his worn face, but Anna held it away from him, reading it herself first. Morris Brown? That's in Atlanta. You'd need housing money, food, books, transportation. She rattled off expenses like bullets. Ronald, we can't afford this. Cameron needs help with his rent. And Brittany's going to need a car next year when she turns 16. Maybe Janice should consider community college first. Live at home, save money. Live at home. The thought made my stomach drop. 2 more years minimum of this hell? Dad, please. I'll work. I'll get loans. I'll figure it out. I was begging now and I hated the desperation in my voice. Dad looked between Anna and me, that familiar exhaustion creeping into his features. Let's talk about this later, Janice. Your stepmom makes some good points. And just like that, my escape route was being discussed like a budget line item. Over the next few weeks, Anna launched a quiet campaign. She'd mentioned to Dad how much she'd miss me, how I was so young to be on my own, how dangerous Atlanta was. But I'd already made my decision. The day I turned 18 I was leaving, scholarship or not. 3 weeks before my 18th birthday, everything exploded. I'd been saving money from my part-time job at Target. $28.47 hidden in a tampon box under my bathroom sink because Anna loved to clean my room and go through my things. That money was my freedom fund, enough for first month's rent and security deposit on an apartment near campus. I came home from my evening shift to find Anna sitting on my bed, my tampon box open beside her, empty. Every dollar was gone. What the hell? I couldn't control my voice anymore. Years of swallowing my rage came bubbling up. You went through my stuff? You took my money. Anna stood up slowly, a small smile playing at her lips. I borrowed it. Cameron needed it for his security deposit. His roommate backed out last minute. You understand, family helps family. The way she said family made it clear she didn't mean me. You'll get it back eventually. That was my money. I earned that. I was shouting now, something I'd never done before. I heard footsteps thundering up the stairs. Dad home early for once. He appeared in my doorway, still in his factory uniform, confusion and anger on his face. What's all this screaming about? Janice, I've never heard you raise your voice like this. Before I could explain, Anna's face crumpled. Tears appeared as if on command, streaming down her cheeks. Ronald, I'm so sorry. I should have asked Janice first, but Cameron was in such a bind, and I thought since we're family she wouldn't mind helping her brother out. Brother? Cameron wasn't my brother. He was the son of the woman who'd tormented me for 6 years. Anna sobbed into her hands. I didn't expect her to get so angry. I was going to pay her back next week. I just thought family looks out for each other. I watched my father's face as he processed this. Watched him look at Anna's tears, then at me, standing there with my Target vest still on, my face flushed with fury. Janice, is that true? You're upset because your stepmom borrowed some money for Cameron. Borrowed. The word came out as a laugh, bitter and sharp. Dad, she stole almost $3,000 from my hiding spot. She went through my private bathroom space. That money was for college, for getting out of here. I stopped myself, but it was too late. Getting out of here? Dad's voice went quiet, dangerous. Is that how you see your home? As some prison you need to escape from? Anna sniffled loudly, playing her part perfectly. I've tried so hard with her, Ronald. I've given her everything, treated her like my own, but it's never enough. She hates me. She hates this family. That's not true. But even as I said it, I knew it was useless. Dad had made his choice years ago. You will apologize to Anna right now. Dad's voice was steel. And you'll accept that Cameron needed that money more than you. He's already in school, already making something of himself. You can wait another year, work more, save again. Each word was another nail in the coffin of our relationship. I looked at Anna, who'd stopped crying just enough to meet my eyes. There was triumph there, cold and calculating. She knew she'd won. She'd always won. No, I said simply. The word hung in the air like smoke. What did you say? Dad stepped closer, his size meant to intimidate. I said no. I'm not apologizing for being upset that someone stole from me. I'm not apologizing for wanting to go to college. I'm not apologizing for existing in this family that never wanted me in the first place. My voice was calm now, eerily so. Something had broken loose inside me and clarity rushed in where pain used to be. If you don't apologize to your mother, she's not my mother. The words exploded out. My mother died when I was 7. This woman has spent 6 years making sure I knew I wasn't wanted here, wasn't really family, wasn't worth the same love she gives Cameron and Brittany. Dad's hand connected with my face before I registered he'd moved. The slap wasn't hard, but the shock of it, Dad had never hit me before, sent me stumbling backward. The room went silent. I left that night with one backpack, my phone, and the clothes on my back. I'd called my mom's sister, Aunt June, who lived in Savannah. She drove 2 hours to get me, took one look at my face, red handprints still visible, and didn't ask questions until we were on I-16 heading east. I never went back. Dad called for the first week, leaving voicemails that started angry and ended pleading. Anna never called once. I lived with Aunt June through college, working 3 jobs to put myself through Georgia Southern University. Got my degree in social work, met Brian at a friend's barbecue my senior year, married him 3 years later. We built a good life in Savannah. A house in a nice neighborhood, 2 kids now, careers we loved. I'd done therapy, processed the trauma, learned to trust again. But I never spoke to Dad or Anna. Dad sent a letter when I graduated college. Aunt June forwarded it. He apologized, said Anna told him she'd exaggerated that night, that he'd been wrong to hit me. But he stayed with her. Chose her. The letter ended with, "Please call when you're ready." I never was. He died 7 years ago, heart attack at 62. I didn't go to the funeral. And now, 20 years after that final night, Anna was on my phone asking for help. "You still there, Janice?" Her voice pulled me back to the present. "I'm here," I said flatly. Brian was awake now, sitting up beside me, concern etched on his face. I put the phone on speaker. "What kind of sick, Anna?" My voice carried no warmth, no sympathy. Just cold curiosity about why this woman thought she had any right to contact me. "Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctors say I have maybe 6 months, probably less." Her voice cracked, and part of me wondered if the tears were real this time or another performance. "The treatments are expensive, and your father, well, you know, he passed. He didn't leave much. Medical bills had already eaten through most of our savings. And you're calling me because?" I knew where this was going, but I wanted to hear her say it. Wanted to hear the audacity drip from her lying mouth. There was a pause, then, "Cameron and Brittany, they're going through tough times financially. Cameron's got 3 kids now, Brittany's in the middle of a divorce. They're helping where they can, but the daughter you stole from, the one you told wasn't really family, the one you helped drive out of her own home, you thought she might have money to spare?" The words came out sharp as glass. Brian grabbed my hand, squeezing gently. He knew this story. Had held me through many nights when the memories resurfaced. "I was wrong, okay?" Anna's voice rose, desperate now. "I was so wrong about everything. Your daddy, before he died, he told me what I'd done to you. Made me see it. I've been wanting to apologize for years, but I was too ashamed." "How much?" I cut through her sob story. "How much do you need?" I heard her sharp intake of breath, surprised that I was even considering it. "The treatment protocol is $47,000. Insurance covers some, but I'm looking at about $32,000 out of pocket. Janice, I know I don't deserve your help, but I'm begging you. I'm dying and I'm scared, and I just want a chance to make things right before." "You want to make things right?" Something hot and fierce bloomed in my chest. "Did you pay me back the $2,847 you stole? Did you ever apologize for the 6 years of psychological torture? Did you send a card when I graduated college, got married, had my kids?" My voice was rising now, controlled fury pouring through the phone. "Did you tell Cameron and Brittany that the money you stole from me paid for Cameron's apartment? Did you tell Dad the truth about what you said to me when I was 14? About how you made sure I knew every single day that I wasn't wanted?" Brian's hand tightened on mine, grounding me. I'm sorry. I was young and stupid and jealous of your father's attention to you. I felt like you were competition for my kids. But I've changed, Janice. Cancer changes a person. Please. The word please hung in the air, pathetic and small. Let me tell you what's going to happen, Anna. My voice went cold calm. I'm going to hang up this phone. And you're never going to contact me again. Janice, wait. Anna's voice went panicked. I'm dying. You'd really let me die because of mistakes I made years ago? What kind of person does that make you? And there it was. The manipulation, the guilt trip, the same tactics she'd used when I was a powerless teenager. But I wasn't that girl anymore. It makes me a person with boundaries. It makes me someone who knows that forgiveness doesn't mean funding your medical care. You made your choices, Anna. You chose cruelty over kindness. You chose to steal from a teenager. You chose to poison my relationship with my father. You chose Cameron and Brittany over basic human decency to a child who'd lost her mother. My voice never wavered. I built a beautiful life without you people. I have 2 children who will never know what it feels like to be told they're not really family. I have a husband who would never ask me to apologize for being stolen from. I have a career helping kids who are going through exactly what you put me through. And I did all of that despite you, not because of you. Anna was crying hard now, ugly, gasping sobs. So that's it? You're just going to let me suffer? I almost laughed. Anna, I suffered for years. Nobody saved me. Figure it out the same way I had to, alone. I hung up, blocked the number immediately, turned to Brian, who pulled me into his arms. 3 months later, Aunt June called. Anna had passed away. Cameron and Brittany wanted to know if I'd contribute to funeral costs. I said no. I felt no guilt, no regret, just peace. Some debts die with the people who created them. My only responsibility was to the family I'd chosen, to the life I'd built from ashes. Anna taught me what I didn't want to be. And that, in the end, was the only thing I'd ever thank her for.